Okay, so like I said, you're going to find a lot of companies. If you Google this, if you look, McDonald's does this, Target, the Olympics did it. Pretty much every major corporation that you're going to look at, you're going to find out if you look into it that they have multiple versions of their logo. And so that was really what I was trying to do last night, was to show you that there were different options, that there were different things that we could do. If you can see, this is a good example of how we could do that. This is a strong anchor, and so it can stand alone just as an anchor. Um, you can also add the name, and that can be one version, another version of the logo, and then again, instead of a motto or a slogan, we have our verse. And so it's one logo that can be done those three ways. And then we have the standard version. That was the reverse version. And then the standard version we can also do as a standalone logo with a name or with all of it. And so that's how I was trying to show you kind of options. This one, this one I did on gray just because I felt like it showed you the detail a little better. If I had a little more time, I think I could play with this and make it a little bit cooler. But really, I think we should concentrate on the ones that we like. And so I'm kind of going to skip over this. Here's another example, a clean, crisp image. We have an anchor that is strong enough that can stand alone. You can add in the Anchor of Hope Ministries if you want, and we can even add in the verse at some point if this would be the one we decided on. We can have another version of the logo that has the verse on it somewhere. Since the verse would be for only the biggest forms or the largest forms, if we're going to incorporate it into the logo, we could even make it so that it's big enough so that we could write it across the crossbar, or there's different things that we could do to make this kind of a cool image and to add in that. And again, we have the three options with that, and then we also have it in a reverse. And in the reverse, you can also do just the standalone anchor or the Anchor of Hope Ministries and add in the thing. This one here, well, let me see. Is that all the ones like this? Okay. This again, another clean, crisp one. Probably one of my favorites that I did. You can just do the anchor. You can do it with just the name. You can add in the verse. Jenny said that she'd like to see ministries there, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. I'd like to see ministries there too. We could either leave out the verse, move the verse somewhere else, or we could even do another line that mimics this line, put it on top with the Hebrews, and then put ministries on the bottom, and that would give it, it would give it a nice linear effect that would look nice when we did it across a page, across a website, across different various ways of doing it. But then you also have just a nice small logo when we're putting it on something that we're not going to do, the full verbiage on. And again, this thing is so sensitive. And again, there's a reverse type of this where I did it on a very dark gray and a pale blue to give us kind of that same reverse feel. We can do all the same things: logo, name, verse, that sort of thing. This one can be done. I put it on gray again so that you could see the detail, but you have a strong cross, and you have the name, and you have our verbiage. Now I would only do this on the bigger versions that I would have the Hebrews, because anything small, I mean, even just as we're seeing it right here, the Hebrews can kind of be lost in the shuffle. And but we so in most versions, or in one version, we could just go all the way across, skip the Hebrews, just like Walmart leaves out their slogan in one of their versions. We can skip out the Hebrews, or we could move it elsewhere, and just have the Anchor of Hope. And we can also, it's a strong enough cross that it can stand on its own as a logo. I like that cross. I think it's a nice looking cross. It's probably the most busy of the ones that I've done, but I still don't think it's too busy. I still think we could make it work if everybody likes it, because I do think it has a kind of sharp look to that cross. So those are those all of my options. I'm trying to swipe on my computer. When my computer doesn't swipe, it's not a touch screen. That one I'm not in love with. Okay, this was the one I was going to talk about because we did talk about a blue cross with a tan rope, and as you can see, this is the only one that I did as we spoke. And the reason for that is because with the software and the limitations that I had last night, saying that I would get you something this morning, this was the only option I had with what I had available to me in the middle of the night last night. I can get more options if everyone really does like the idea of the Blue Cross tan rope. Oh goodness, it spun away. I can get more options. This, even though these are pretty simple looking and clean, getting the spacing right, getting the fonts and the coloring and everything set up right and the layout right is actually more time consuming than it would appear. To put together these rough drafts for you guys to see, it took me about 11 hours. I did not go to bed last night. I took a nap from about 10 to 11 this morning. I say that not to pat myself on the back, but simply to say this is why you're not seeing more of this image, because I didn't have access to it last night and I simply did not have time to gain access, put it all together, and still have something for you guys to look at this morning as promised. And I wanted to keep my word on that and really have something for you all to see this morning. So if this is still the direction that we definitely want to go, I can absolutely get you some more options of Blue Cross's tan ropes, or if you decide, hey, I think it would look better with a red rope. I did try making this with a red rope and it looked nicer than I expected. I was a little about red when I first thought of it, but then when I saw it, it was nice. So I looked for a lot of different options, and I know that there are some out there. It will just take a time and me registering for sites and me doing a lot of legwork in order to get access to those images. And that was not something that I really had time to do, and also get you images this morning. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you're feeling, what you're not feeling. Again, whatever we do, I can put together, if you guys decide that I'll do it, I can put together just like just like a marketing firm would. I can give us all the options: the standalone, the name plus the slogan, it in reverse, it in regular, so that we have all the different options. The reason that the firms do this is because they want you to have a lot of versatility with your logo. Logo is something that you hold on to for a long, long time. Logo is something that we send out into the world and we have no idea who's going to see it. And there are a whole lot of people who are very, very visually oriented. And their impression of us is going to be what they see, the vibe they get off of the image that they see. I was just reading this really great book, and it was talking about right brain versus left brain, and how our left brain processes facts, our right brain more just picks up the feeling that we get from something. And there are so many people who are really going to be attracted by the feel that they get off of our marketing materials and what we put out there, more so than the facts that we put on there. And that may seem unspiritual or unholy, but it is the reality of how God created some of our brains, that there are people who are more artistic, more right brains, and they get a vibe off of what they see, off of the image, off of how something's put together, and it makes a big decision. It's a big decision-making factor in a lot of people's minds. And so I really want us all to be happy with this. I want us to feel pleased. I want us to feel confident that what we've put out there is the best that we can do. And so if you guys hate everything I did, then that is fine with me, and we will find something, because I really sincerely want us to be confident in what we're putting out there as our image to people that we may never, ever, ever see. Their only impression of us might be a business card or a flyer or a website. And so I just wanted, I worked in advertising and marketing industry for 4 or 5 years. And it was my very, very, very favorite job that I had in the world, out in the world. And I love this stuff. I geek out on this stuff. And so sorry if I bore you with some of it. I tend to not want to bore people. And then I realize that I don't say quite as much as I should. And because maybe people need more information than I've given. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Thank you for taking the time to look at the images and give it some consideration, and maybe think outside of your own box that